nothing ever happened when Trump was in power because Putin respected Trump and he knew he couldn't get away with anything. Now, under the feckless Biden administration, Putin has seized his opportunity. He knows well he can get away with it. So I want to pause here for just a second and ask the question that a few people in the West are asking, but absolutely everyone should be asking. Why in the world is China waiting to act on Taiwan? If I were China, I would do this right now. Because what's the West going to do? We're completely focused on Europe. We're sending everything we've got there. I mean, if you were China, what would you do?
I mean, I'd probably do it if I were them. I'd go into Taiwan and try to take it over. I don't know. I don't see a good reason why they wouldn't do that other than...
Well, we can't sanction them. We can't sanction them the same. I mean, we could, but we can't do the same thing we're doing to Russia there because our economies are so intertwined. I mean, if you, that would be like dropping a guillotine. It would sever so many nerves and arteries and capillaries that are useful for international trade and that we count on. We think we've got supply chain issues now. Imagine if we did that. There's not a good option there. They have nuclear weapons. There's an entire ocean between us and them. Again, and the entire world's focus is on Europe right now. If I were China, I would jump in on it.
I mean, maybe they're just trying to make themselves look a little better in the international face. I mean, maybe they think, well, if Russia's the enemy, then people will stop thinking that we're so bad. Maybe they'll just start thinking that Russia's bad. That's the only reason.
Well, they haven't endorsed it. They haven't endorsed it so far. They've not condemned what Putin's doing, but they haven't endorsed it.
And it's interesting because, of course, China denies it, but there was a report the other day that China had asked Russia, "Oh, will you delay your invasion just so we can have our little Olympic Games?" And of course, after that report broke, China was like, "Of course we didn't do that." But I'm kind of on the side of they probably did and are backtracking. But I think that I'm kind of, again, on two sides because I can see two options that would be obvious reasons for either decision by China. And the first is to sit back and observe. That's what a lot of people have said. There's like an old saying out there that by just sitting back and listening, you can learn a lot more than by standing up and speaking.
It's a fundamental conservative idea, too.
Yeah, and
wait and watch.
Wait and watch, see what happens. I bet if China were at least somewhat smart, they would be like, maybe there's someone who's competent in the Biden administration. Let's see how it goes for Russia, and then we'll reevaluate. But the other thought that crosses my mind is China's situation with Hong Kong, because that was only a few years ago, and we saw all of these stories coming out of Hong Kong of college students freaking out, fighting for independence, waving American flags, and the world just sat and watched and went, "Oh, look what's happening over there. That's kind of interesting," and no one talks about it years later.
Yeah, our friends over at the Epoch Times, they were harassed over there. I think they had property destroyed. I think they had staffers arrested, but I can't remember. And then it came out, gosh, I think this was 3 or 4 years ago, we started to see a huge uptick in attacks against Chinese citizens or Chinese nationals in the United States on the part of... I think they were saying it was on the part of African Americans. And what we found out, a reporter started digging in, and he found that it was actually Chinese intelligence that was pushing those attacks. So they are very wily and very wary, and they are watching what we're doing, and they're trying to influence American political thought and cultural thought.